Jiu-Jitsu's constantly changing. It seems like every time I look at some jiu-jitsu video, it's just a move I know I'm never gonna hit. So how do we sift through the sea of techniques? Well, to figure that out, we need to ask some other disciplines. BJJ is a technical discipline, similar to things like music or my background, art, where we have foundational ideas that we have to follow to make things work. In art, we have 3 things just to make a basic drawing: form, perspective, and light. If we have these ideas completely understood, we can turn pretty much any art into something nice. But it allows us to have perfect practice, and that's because our foundations are perfect. So you might be asking yourself, how does this apply to BJJ? Well, BJJ is the same. BJJ has 3 fundamental ideas: attacking, defending, and submitting. Just think about it. No matter the match, one person is going to start attacking, forcing the other player to defend, and then it's eventually going to lead to submission. So look, BJJ just went from thousands of moves to 3 simple ideas. So if my goal is to improve attacking, defending, and submitting every time I train, I would try to understand one basic concept from each thing and try to master that. So now let's implement this into our roles, because unless we're the gym owner, it's not likely we're going to be able to drill everything we want. Now what we're going to do is we're going to watch our opponent or our partner. Anytime they take a less athletic position than us, we need to attack. It's likely you're going to fail over and over again. Trust me, I did all the time. But it's going to help us set up for our next step, and that's practicing defense. So what happens is we will attack, we're going to fail, we're going to defend, and we're going to continue in this cycle. Our partner isn't going to have an answer to this if we just keep getting out. So they're going to start to open up to us, and now it's going to let us practice the last step, submitting. Now, in levels of hardness, I think submitting and understanding submissions is probably the easiest one. If you understand an armbar, you're starting to understand fulcrum-based submissions. And if we understand triangles or rear naked chokes, we understand blood chokes. So our first idea is going to be understanding fundamental concepts and mastering them. If this is making sense to you and you want better ways to learn jiu-jitsu, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Now moving on is how we're going to build those into bite-sized pieces. So this is really where my style of learning is going to be a lot different than others, because I believe that studying the masters is going to be the most effective way to learn any technical discipline. Why do I believe this? Well, in art school, we were taught to study the masters, and our goal was to write down details we would notice throughout the art, whether it was brush stroke, a type of lighting, or coloring. From that, I've even learned how to do stuff like YouTube. Right now, I have Rembrandt lighting. Another thing that this does is it helps us recognize patterns and change how our brain thinks about jiu-jitsu. So rather than just focusing on how nice the painting was, we'd focus on reoccurring patterns that were used by professionals. So how do I implement this into BJJ? For me, I spend anywhere from 1 to 4 hours a day studying 3 to 5 matches a week. And remember, it shouldn't be the same person in every match. The goal here is to find patterns that work across all the top athletes. Now I'm writing down anything in each match that's reoccurring, and this is going to help me start to build out those fundamentals from the last section. And remember, when BJJ is broken down into attacking, defending, and submitting, it allows us to find these patterns a lot easier. So rather than focusing on one specific thing, now we're focusing on them in whole chunk sections. Actively reminding yourself to do this is also going to help you during your roles, because you're going to be thinking in phases. Also, breaking stuff down into 3 simple things is just going to help beginners learn faster. So step 2 is going to be studying the masters. Look guys, we need to understand that jiu-jitsu isn't just an athletic sport. It's very technical, and I believe that this is how people like John Danaher have been learning throughout their career. If you look at his background, it makes sense he would learn this way. Now some tips at creating these fundamentals. When you're first starting, it's important to find simpler things, like posture or stances. Then we can start to work into some small details like grips and hand placement. So if your goal is to improve at jiu-jitsu faster, then I think you need to start implementing this. Stop going on Instagram and scrolling through all these crazy moves that you know you're never going to hit. Start finding patterns in these moves. Maybe there's a reason that they do it this way and there's so many people trying them. This is what I've been using, and I've used it since the beginning of my jiu-jitsu career, so I'm excited to share it with you, but I really do think you should try to use it. If you need help tracking, I do offer a free 16-week planner linked below.